Hello, hello, everybody, and welcome to the next edition of our Launch 2021 call.
Kev, we
Tonight
don't
is
hear
a
you.
very, very important night. Very important night. If you can, guys, put yourselves on mute. Just make sure we're all good. But tonight's a very important night. We have somebody joining us. She is the right hand of the Cardone Enterprises organization. Some of you may know who she is. If you've seen anything coming out of the company, Sherry Hamilton has had her hand involved in it. We're going to be discussing a lot of different topics, organization. So guys, get your questions ready. But I want to kind of check and see how everybody's doing. I want to hear some wins. Guys, pop in the chat. I really want to hear some success stories, guys. Put your hands up. So I really want to see how we can share this with our community. I know somebody experienced some success. I know Judith had a really great conversation in regards to a partnership that she was getting started. Alka, you're amazing. Alka, why don't you share with us some successes? I know you've been experiencing. You're always posting. You're always active in our community. It's good to have you here tonight. Hello.
Hi there, Kat. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Well, you are amazing. Thank you, Kat. It was great. And it was a pleasure to be on these calls. And you just are amazing.
Thank you.
So the wins that I've been having, I've been really connecting with a lot of amazing, beautiful women in this group, but also other groups around. And, you know, it's really scaling. I'm really looking to like scaling and, partnering with other people, not just in my industry, but other people around. And that's really taken, tenfold. So I'm really excited where my business is going. And on a personal level, everything that I've sort of, manifested is really happening. So I'm just so truly grateful.
I appreciate you, Alka, for being here. Thank you so much for sharing that, because we do have so many new people who are just got into their journey with Grant. So you sharing that, I'm sure, gives some hope and inspiration to everybody. So thank you, Alka. Question for you though. Did you find yourself was it easy for you to start connecting and networking with people, or was it something that you had to kind of develop, and from what you've been learning to kind of reach out? Like, what was it for you?
Yeah, you have to be, once you know, Kat, what's your path, once you know what is your purpose, for your business, for your growth, once you know that, then everything's kind of falls into place. And then you have to be the one to take the action. You have to be the one to put yourself in the marketplace, as Grant says. So once you do that, and connecting with like-minded, growth-minded is what I like, actually, growth-minded individuals, then, then things can happen, but you have to be the one to do it. We can expect, things to happen if we're not going to take the action. So you have to be the one to do it.
100%. Thank you for that. Let's go, Miss Alka. Love that. Thank you for sharing. So you got to be the one to do it and just get in. Wise words. Love that.
Yes.
Alka, can't wait to see you live in person. I think we have 2 more calls before you're in the building at the Turnberry for GrowthCon. We can't wait to see you.
Thank you. Yeah, likewise.
So tonight, everybody, if you're just joining us, welcome. This is the next edition of our Launch 2021 call. We have another edition. We have our executives that are going to be sharing their knowledge. Last week, you had our president, Mr. Jared Glant, come on board and talk about the A3 formula. Who got some value in that? Who actually did the assignment from last week? Let's pop in a 10X in the chat to see if you guys, you didn't just listen to the information, you actually did something about it. Like, of course, Alka was saying, because action, execution, that's the important piece and component. Okay, we have Miss Shayna Black, 10X, Martin Morris. Who else, guys? Who else actually did the exercise? How about, let's see, Mr. Williams, Financial. Did you do it? I see you. I see you there. Everybody's in here. We have Christian in the building. I know Leah Nevers did. Leah's always on point. We got Alan Adams, Nazir, one of our licensees. Good to see you here in the building as well. Miss Bobby is saying he taught so good at our training. Watching was a reminder. Absolutely, that's so good. So tonight, guys, what are we focusing on here today? We're focusing on measuring success and systems. How many of you guys, and I want to know because Miss Sherry Hamilton is going to be joining us, we're going to be focusing on that. How many of you have actually done the numbers, worked the math from the second call here on the Launch 2021 call? How many of you have actually worked the math and have a system in place to measure your success? Just go ahead and put math in the chat. We want to know if you guys are actually putting this into practice. Okay, of course, Judith in Australia. This woman is making partnerships with people around the world. Of course, you did the math. I know that. So good. Of course, Miss Alka, Evelyn, of course, out in Dubai, Heather, Letty, of course. Guys, we want to know that you're actually putting this into practice. Today, Sherry Hamilton's going to be talking about putting systems in place. How are you measuring everything? How do you know if it's even working in the first place? I want to go to Miss Judith. Judith Viado in Australia. Hello, hello.
I'm here.
Hi. So can you just share with everybody, because I know some people have never really, a lot of people here in the group may have not had an experience with Sherry Hamilton, but you got to experience on a mentorship call a couple of weeks ago, Sherry Hamilton, employee processes, procedures, and operations. That helped you bring on a new employee, right? What was your experience just from listening to Sherry that one time? What did that do for you?
Well, what it did for me was prior to being part of that mentorship as well as the accelerator program, I was so hesitant in actually paying the subscription of HubSpot. That's one of them, right? I always say, no, I'm going to go and just use Excel or Google Sheets and all that. But then I cannot measure anything. When Grant and Sherry discuss about measuring or maths, how many leads we get a day. So I now have a system in place starting from that call. I have a system in place to measure how many leads we get from different sources, how long my sales rep actually make a call each day, how many deals we actually closed. And then when we look at the pipeline, when you don't have a pipeline, then you cannot follow it up. So it just make me level up my numbers or my game or the way I manage things. And then when we employed or when we engage another or new sales rep in our company, we can actually measure if she is actually contributing to the growth of our business or not. Within 2 weeks, I've already made the decision between me and my husband that she's not the right person. But then we bring in another person based on, there's also a list that Sherry had shared on recruiting people, what you're looking at on a salesperson and things like that. So I've implemented all that. And I've also enrolled Rowena now into the Cardone University, and she's loving it. And I felt like I'm not only one and my husband training her now. I've got like the whole Cardone team training her, and that's basically like, oh my God, it's such a relief. I've got a structure that we share to her. We have, like a daily meeting with her at the end of the day. Yeah, so it actually gives me a structure. I think my takeaway and the whole thing is, it's like I'm not alone. That's one takeaway. I'm not alone. Okay. Second is I can message you. I can message the others. I have a proven structure, and I have confidence that I'm actually being mentored by the best in the whole world. So yeah, thank you.
We appreciate you. And just listening to that call from Sherry, we can see the progress that it's made from you. Thank you so much for sharing. On that note, we're talking systems, we're talking processes, and the person best suited to have that conversation with us here today is Sherry Hamilton, our COO. She runs all the operations. She brings the culture to our organization, and she's going to be sharing with you here today. Miss Sherry Hamilton.
Hello, everybody. I hope you guys are incredible tonight. I appreciate you taking the time on Monday night to join us, and I hope that you will take away something from this call that you can implement. The whole point of this launch is to help you get some kind of steam underneath you so that you can go forward quicker, harder, faster, stronger than you were before on your own. So that's our purpose tonight. I appreciate you joining. And tonight we are going to talk about statistics. We're going to talk about statistics for one reason only. And that only reason that we talk about statistics is because it is the only sane way to actually measure what is happening in your life, your business, and all of your endeavors. So when you think about statistics, one of my favorite things is this definitions of things. Statistics can be, all sorts of mathematical, fantastic, super smart, genius stuff. But the basic definition of statistics is a methodology to gather, review, analyze, and draw conclusions from data. Statistics are used to make better informed business decisions. And you can just take out business and just say better decisions, period. Because if you don't have statistics, what are you measuring on? What are your decisions based on? What kind of crystal ball, fantastic telemedium, seance, palm reading are you doing that is giving you your answers and data on which to base your moves forward? You've got to have something that you can rely on, because when you think about it, what is your basis? You have to, in order to launch, what do they have? A launch pad, right? Now, if that launch pad cannot handle the whole power of that rocket as those engines are pouring out, if that launch pad cannot handle all the heat and all the power, do you think that rocket ship is launching? No, it's probably going down into a hole. You've got to have a basis upon which you can build. You have to have a platform, you have to have a foundation. And I'm telling you that if you're not using statistics, you're trying to launch from the air. If you're trying to launch from the air, what kind of power are you going to launch from? How are you going to have that kind of power to launch if you're midair, based on nothing, no information? A lot? You going way up high, or are you just going to kind of have a little loop and then go crash? Exactly. So I really want you guys to think about that. How do you measure anything? How do you decide what's good and bad? How do you take a look and say, you know what, I'm going to do that again? Or you know what, I am never going to do that again. Measuring is defined as the size, length, or amount of something. The size, length, or amount of something. And remember, your statistics are those pieces of data that you use in order to make decisions. So if you need data in order to make decisions, how are you going to measure it? Well, it's probably simpler than you're making it, because so many times right now we see these fantastic, okay, you can come into our office at Cardone Training Technologies and you're going to see the fabulous television screens with the tickers going and all the dollars happening, and you're going to hear the cha-chings and all the noises, and you're going to see how many calls and how many this and how many that. But it's just has to start simple. And so I really, really want to encourage you that no matter how you measure, just measure. Measure something, measure the things that matter. So if I can get your agreement on that, do I have some thumbs up from everybody? Type yes in the chat if you guys are with me right now. I want to see some yeses. That's right. Okay, good. So let's talk about that. Do you guys have your workbook for tonight? Those of you who have workbook, I can share with you. my screen if you like. Okay, let me just take you here for a second. You guys see that all right? All right. So I want to talk to you about 3 tips. Listen, just start. If you guys can just start, it's going to get you so much further than everything else. Number 1, knowing versus feeling. How many times do you go into a situation, you go, man, I don't know about this person. You know, there's a lot of things that you can have an opinion about, and it doesn't mean that your opinion is wrong. You can have an aversion to a certain thing or a certain smell or a certain food. It doesn't mean that those smells or foods are bad, right? It doesn't mean that those foods won't work for somebody. It doesn't mean that those foods might not even work for you. It might mean, you know, you probably don't like getting up to work out every day. Maybe you don't like to get up early. Maybe you don't like to do your laundry. Maybe you don't like to cook your food. Maybe you don't like to call or touch in with your family or your clients. Maybe there's certain administrative tasks that you don't like to do. So if we were just to govern our actions by how we feel about things, how far would we get? Probably not too far. Because the real rewards, as Grant Cardone would say, lie in those things that others refuse to do. You do what others refuse to do and you will get paid. You will get paid. So if you're trying to govern yourself, your business, your activities, your relationships, your kids, education, what car you should buy, what food you should buy, what food you should eat, how often you should work out. Are you doing well on your diet or bad on your diet? Is your body healthy or isn't it? If you're trying to decide how to move forward based on a feeling, it's not going to work. It's not going to work as well as if you've got hard, cold data that's going to govern you. It takes all of the wonder out of it. You know, when you're not quite sure about something and you think it's kind of that way, or you don't really care for that person, but they actually did have great results. Well, you need statistics. Statistics will take all the emotion out of it. You don't have to wonder. You don't have to figure, oh my gosh, what should I do? What should I do? Should I go this way? Should I go that way? Should I fire them? Should I keep them? If you're looking at statistics, the answer will be like a huge neon sign. It will be unmistakable. It would be like using statistics will guide your way. Like it's like the path to the Emerald City. It's just that easy. It's like the yellow brick road. So you don't have to wonder and you don't have to guess. And it takes this anxiety out of your livelihood. It takes the anxiety out of all of your areas of life that you're using statistics, because you don't have to guess and you're not figuring. And guess what? Then you don't have to second guess yourself. Because what happens when you're going off your own knowing, I mean, just this feeling, if you're going off a feeling, you're like, gosh, I hope I'm right. Fingers crossed. You know, you do your, whatever those things you do for good luck, and you carry your charm and your rabbit's foot, and, you know, you do your 3 things of the turn of the such and such and the so-and-so and all the other different superstitious behavior. You see people doing it all the time because they are not confident. They're not trusting themselves. They're not trusting their own decisions. And the reason that you don't trust your decisions is because you've been wrong before. You let yourself down in the past. So now you're trying to govern everything on a feeling, but you know you were wrong before. So how can you trust yourself? You got to use statistics. Okay, hopefully I've made my case on that one. All right, number 2 tip, dose, inspect what you expect. So what do I mean by that? If you are asking your team to do a certain number of calls, how do you know? How do you know if they did their calls? If you are governing your own workout or your own diet or your own anything, how do you know? How do you know if it's working? You're going to step on the scale, or you're going to measure, or you're going to feel how those clothes feel, or you're going to tell by your energy level. You're going to check, you're going to look. If you put down a target or a goal or some kind of a thing that you're expecting yourself or others to do, but you're not keeping statistics on it, how do you know if you hit it or not? And therefore, you're just as much in the dark as if you never set it up in the first place. So even if it's a tick mark, or if it's some sort of a graph, or if it's some sort of a wonderful spreadsheet, it doesn't matter. Just if you set something down and you say, this is what should be done, this is the quantity in which it should be done, or this is what I want to know, you must check, find out, make some sort of a system, even if it's hieroglyphics on a caveman wall. Did it happen or didn't it? Don't take anybody's word for it. Check, inspect, see for yourself. I'm going to tell you that some of the most important lessons I learned as I was coming through being in charge of organizations, especially the big ones, was that I took someone else's word that something was a certain way, or we had so many of something, and I didn't check. And that came back to bite me. So I would say to you guys, if there's one lesson I learned, and those were painful lessons, check, inspect what you're expecting. Have a system so that you can do that, and then do it. All right. Tip number 3. Why keep statistics? Because you want to reward and reinforce those things that are working, including yourself. If I didn't keep statistics on how Cardone Training Technologies was doing since I became Chief Operations Officer, how would I be able to demand a reward? How would I be able to? How would my staff be able to demand any sort of a bonus or a commission if they weren't tracking what they sold or what they accomplished or what they did? Statistics are the basis upon which you will get all the rewards that are due to you, and the basis upon which you can reward those people that are working and really producing for you. You want to reward those people. You know why? Because people will keep producing more and more and more, including you, if they're getting rewarded for it. And it becomes this game, and they want to beat their own record, and they want to be the best one, and they want to really beat their own stats, their own targets. They see what's possible. And this keeping of statistics allows them to have self-confidence, self-esteem, morale, because they're setting a target, or if you're setting it for them, that's fine too. But when they reach it, the pride they have in themselves that they accomplished something is such an incredible source of morale. And it's such a self-confidence booster in your team. Think what happens when you yourself actually achieve something you set out to do. I'm going to run this long, or this many miles, or take this many steps, or I'm going to reach this weight, or I'm going to work out this many days, or I'm going to reach this dollar target, or I'm going to make this many calls. Can you recall a time when you set a target and you made it? I want to see it in the chat. If you guys ever had this before, you set a target and you made it. I want to see you. Yeah. Did you feel more powerful when you did it or less? Tell me in the chat. When you hit a target that you set out, yeah, guess what? You just created power for yourself. You put a target there. You said, I'm jumping this high. I'm doing this much. And you hit it and you're like, I am fantastic. I am invincible. No one can mess with me. I say it is so, and it is so. Just think what that does for your people. Those of you who have teams, think how happy, think how strong you are making your teams by doing this for them. It is a secret weapon. It is unbelievable. So number 3 is use those statistics to make sure you're rewarding the right results. And also in tip number 3, that is protection. If you are reaching your statistical targets all the time, and you have something that's like a down day or a down month, or there's a problem or a health problem, or you need to be out for some time, or you want something special, or even worse, some competitor attacks you and makes it seem like you're doing something wrong. What do those results give you? If you can say, yeah, but look here, I've met my production targets, I've met my stats, I've helped this many people, I've got all these success stories, I'm this, I'm that. It's a protection. Statistics are a protection. It protects you against all sorts of forces and people attacking outside, that they could be attacking through jealousy. They could be trying to make you have a bad reputation. They could be attacking you with your spouse, with your kids, with your job, with your boss, with your clubs, with your groups, with your whomever. But if you have good statistics, meaning you can show your results, that really wards off a lot of trouble. Because what boss is going to give you trouble if you're producing results? Unless, of course, it's completely fake or if it's unethical. But, you know, I have a one employee who comes to me and says, hey, this he's mean to me, or, you know, he didn't treat me politely, or he's this or he's that, or he took my parking spot. I don't know, any number of things. I'm going to look at the statistics of the person and go, okay, all right. I might not do anything. You see how that works? You see how that is absolutely important and how it can protect you? Statistics and results will protect you. Exciting, huh? Little secret. Okay. Next, I want to share with you some best practices for your statistics. And again, I want you to just have a system. It doesn't matter what the system is. You know, realistically, any system beats no system, hands down. If you're measuring and you are looking at actual data and you're just looking at tick marks or spreadsheets, it's fine as long as you are consistent and you have a system. Okay. Next, use the system. Big tip. Use the system. So many times you'll put something in place or you'll say you're going to do it, etc., and then you don't. So obviously that's not going to help you launch. You need a powerful platform and a base and a foundation from which to launch. Have a system and use the system. Then insist others use the system. If you've got a team or a partner or whatever you have in your group, let's make sure that they're using the system too, because otherwise it's like one of you speaking Spanish and the other one is speaking French. You're not speaking the same language. So make sure that the system is used consistently. And next, make the system work for you, because, you know, if it's not working, it's worthless. So if that system doesn't work, throw it away. New system. Just be completely in charge of creating your entire game, your entire atmosphere. You create your own bubble and you insist that those are your rules. And so that it's got to work for you. I want you to collect at least three statistics for every role. So let's say a salesperson, 3 statistics. Obviously, closed deals is a statistic, but you might say a number of phone calls made, and you might say number of leads handled, or you might say any number of things, number of demos, those sort of things. But think of 3 statistics for each role that you want to put attention on. And also, if you're not comparing last week to this week or yesterday to today, your statistic is meaningless. How do you know if you're up or down? Sometimes we used to in the meeting say, we got however many tens of thousands of dollars in today. Well, is that up or down? How do I know? The only way I know is to compare it to a prior day. You see what I'm saying? So you have to keep those statistics consistently day after day, week after week, so you can then compare and see, wow, how is this February compared to last February? Oh my gosh, last February we had the growth comp, so it was like way high. So, it makes sense to you. The statistics will tell the story, and they'll tell you the story of what worked, and they'll tell you the story of what didn't. But you got to be consistent with it. And keep your team accountable. Make sure they're accountable for their statistics. It's going to make them feel so empowered, and they are going to feel so highly confident if they know they can hit those statistics. Incredible accomplishment. It gives them something they can control. If you give them a statistic, super key point, if you give somebody a statistic that they can't control, well, then what's the point? They can't influence it. It must be something related to their role that they can control. And the sales team is such an easy way to explain that. I can control as a salesperson how many calls I make. I can control how many demos I make. I can control how many people I see. I can control all of those things. If I gave a salesperson the statistic of keeping expenses down, they're so far removed from that. How would they even begin? It would be a loss for them right off the bat. So when you're assigning statistics to a role, make sure it's something that has to do with that role and something that that person in that role can influence. Okay? All right. Let me go back to this for you. So there you go. Keeping the team productive will help keep their morale up and spirits high. I thought I would give you some statistics. Again, these are pretty graphics, but the fact is that these statistics, this is Grant's favorite one up here, which is Grant's SEO SEO, who's searching Grant Cardone. And then this is compared to money. So when you keep statistics, you can correlate these types of things. If we weren't keeping these statistics, we wouldn't be able to correlate this, and therefore we wouldn't realize, oh my gosh, that ad on SiriusXM, the Undercover Billionaire show, all the YouTube videos, all the social media we're doing, all the speaking we're doing, all of the world tour, the this, the that, all of that stuff is contributing to Grant's name being searched. Cardone Capital, Cardone Ventures, Cardone License. And so if we weren't keeping track of this, we wouldn't know what to put the gas pedal on. So it makes it very easy to see. Here's another example. This is one we keep for platform users. This is in our Cardone University platform. And this gives you the number of users in the platform. Well, if this number isn't going up, what the heck's going on over there, right? Okay. So here's some sales team numbers. These are all, by the way, these are all Excel graphs. These are all made in Excel. And you can just put the numbers in the Excel spreadsheet and then create a graph from it. One day we'll have to do a little drill on that. And here are sales team employee contracts closed by the months. And you see this person, you think this person's doing pretty well in the team? Heck yeah. Consistently improving, consistently month over month, up, 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 up. That's an incredible graph right there. So right now, I would like for you guys to do this little exercise. Are you ready? Do you have your pens ready? I would like for you to write down 3 areas in which you can track statistics. Any 3 areas. Ideally, these are areas that influence what you most care about, whether it's your dollars or your calls or your reach or your videos or whatever your game is. 3 areas that you can track your stats on. Okay, good. Then I want you guys to decide on a system, whether it's like a QuickBooks report or a sales graph or a report, HubSpot. I mean, you know, whatever you've got. It could be some app, it could be an Excel sheet, it could just be marks on a piece of paper. And I want you to write down how you want to track it. Phone calls is a good one. All right. And then throughout the week, I want you to document the processes that you have and how you're tracking them. And if you don't have a business, just document what you're doing daily. You'd be surprised how much this draws your attention. Have you ever run like your financial report? I don't know if you guys do this at the end of the year when I'm getting ready to do my taxes, and I run my who I paid what to in the year, and I go, I bought how much Starbucks? Are you kidding me right now? I could have bought a car for that. You know, like sometimes you just don't know unless you're looking. And you're like, oh my gosh, it is so important and so impactful that you're keeping those statistics. And had I been doing it all throughout the year, I could have made adjustments sooner. So track it. All right. And then identify which processes or activities are working, and then determine the ones that aren't working and eliminate them. So that is your assignment for the week. I want you to decide on a system to track what's going on, what those statistics are, those meaningful actions or activities, whether you're a business or a solopreneur or somebody trying to get a job, whatever. What do you want to track? What's important? What do you want to see improvement on? And then document it, and then identify what's working and what isn't. So I know for me, Krispy Kreme donuts are fantastic, but they don't work for me. So we have a policy here that we don't have Krispy Kreme donuts in the house because those don't work for me. I feel horrible, as delicious as they are. I know they're going to melt in my mouth, but they are horrific on my energy and I get a headache, and that's it. Just keep something going this week stat-wise and let me know next week what you find out. All right, so I hope you guys have gotten a little something from those few tips. And now we shall open it up to questions. All righty, if you guys have a question about statistics or whatever you like, feel free to put up your hand and we'll call on some guys. Michael, what's
Hey,
up?
hey, Sher.
Oh, How are you?
I just had I just wanted to let you know, last time you were speaking, we talked about hiring people. And you mentioned, if they're late, you don't even speak to them.
Yeah.
And I got to tell you, you were right. I did hire someone. They were late in their first interview, but we liked the candidate. We thought she was pretty good. She since has been fired, but how you do one thing's how you do everything. And it was definitely good advice. I should have listened more.
I am sorry to hear that I was right about that. Most things that I'm right about, I'm very sorry I'm right about it. But it's true. It's very, it is highly indicative of the level of dedication and care that a person will take. If you're not really trying to impress on the first day, you just don't care enough, you know? So
Yeah, she was only like 2 minutes late, but
Yeah.
that's if you're not early, you're late. And we since hired another person. I have a new person starting too on the phone, and I'm definitely going to track them, as you mentioned in this call as well. That's really, really important. So thank you.
So welcome, Michael. It's always good to see you. All right, let's see. Who else have we got here? Charlie's here. Let's say, Charlie, what you got, Charlie?
Hello, Sherry.
Hi.
I am all over the place all the time, and it's hard for me to focus with a lot of stuff going on. So the statistics, how you broke it down tonight, has really helped me to not be scared of it, because I'm an artsy person. I'm not a logical, organized person, as probably Adrian can tell you. We room together when we come to visit, and she's like, Charlie, you're just all over the place. What is wrong with you? And so I'm just like going, thank you so much, because I am running ads for Monat right now and getting a lot of people wanting samples, and it will be very interesting for putting it down, how many people I sent out, how many people I followed up, because I'm so bad with following up, and how many sales I closed from it. So
Yes, and you know, I'm happy to hear it, Charlie, because you get this energy from it. If you go, man, all I need to do is make 10 phone calls, I get one demo, and then I get a deal, or whatever it is, you'll find this secret out. It's like a formula. It's like a secret formula. You just discovered it. And now you know what you have to do. All you got to do is make X number of calls, and then you're going to do this, and then that happens, and then bingo, you reach your goal. It really becomes very empowering. So good luck.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Christopher's here. Hi, Christopher.
Hi, Sherry. How's it going?
It's awesome. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hey, what do you think are what top 3 things for tracking an executive assistant or an assistant would you suggest?
Wow. You know, that is one of the most challenging, because they have all these different tasks. But when I was trying to do this before, I just counted just an action completed. It could be where that's a little unfair on some days, because some activities or tasks or duties are longer or more involved than others.
Yeah.
But let's say I put somebody on creating a spreadsheet or a log template or Christmas card list, or any variety of, I want all this filed, or I want this purged, or I want this, the list for the office made so that when the hurricanes come, we've got everybody's list updated and all that. You know, some of those things are fairly long. But really, if it's successful completion of anything, it's so wonderful to have that. And it's a little tricky, but I'm going to say that those completions of those cycles are so liberating to the executive. If I know that I can give somebody something and it actually gets done, it is so helpful. When I give somebody something and it never does get done, and I never hear back that they ran into a problem, or it just kind of gets forgotten, and then I have to go, oh my gosh, I wonder what happened with so-and-so. And so it's completed cycles done and reported back. Done, done, done. And I love to see when I get this back from my assistant, who's pretty amazing. And she says, I'll say, hey, can you X, Y, or Z? And she'll say, done, done, done. And I get so happy because now I'm not wondering if it was done or not. So an assistant facilitates the executive. And then, you know, it depends on how you're using that person. Sometimes assistants are referred to with different tasks. But if it's a personal assistant and they run the home and they run the dry cleaning and they run the kids to school and they run the cars and they run all of that. Well, do you come home and everything is fantastic, or do you come home and everything's a mess and the laundry's not picked up and the car's out of gas and so it's subjective that way, but I think that that's the best way to measure.
Absolutely, I appreciate it. So just to reiterate, more so tasks completed, cycles completed. If they're getting things done, bringing completed tasks to you, then they're a rock star.
Rock star. If your life feels easier, if you go, okay, good. Okay, I know that's going to get handled. If I give it to her, it'll get handled. If I give it to him, he's going to get it done. He's going to follow it through. Then that's the sign that you're on the right track.
Awesome. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, let's see who we got. Rhonda. Rhonda's with us tonight. Hi, Rhonda.
Hi, thank you. Thank you so much. I really want to thank you, first of all, for making this so much easier to explain to non-technical people, because I'm like a technical person and I sort of get the statistics, but you know, for me to explain to someone else, that's just totally hard to do because they're like, what are you talking about? So this is, especially the rewards, and also backing yourself up, because even if you're on a job and you want to get a promotion, you can say, well, look, here's my stats, here's what I did. But my question is, yeah, I mean, you know, duh, I didn't even think about that. So, but my question is, what do you mean by reviewing the system? Like, for example, I want to make sure I track calls, how many new people I talk to a day, how many numbers do I get, how many calls do I make, how many appointments do I set, how many new team recruits do I get, and how much business do I write. So if I have all those numbers, you know, I don't understand what you mean by judge the system, look at the system and see what's not working and correct it. So if you're just collecting the numbers, what are you judging? What are you looking at to change?
So maybe, you know, there could be some instances where you might have to measure a different statistic to really hit what you want. So for example, if I'm measuring, let's say I wasn't measuring demos. Let's say I was just measuring phone calls and business written. And let's say I wasn't measuring refunds. I could get a false picture and I could be looking at my P&L going, wait, where's all the money? I made my phone calls and I wrote the business. But if I wasn't measuring the fact that I had refunds or how many demos it took to get a good deal or those kind of things, what I mean is that you can really fine tune in order to take your business higher and higher and higher and reach better and better targets. You want to really streamline. You want to hone right in on the exact formula for what's working. And so what I mean by that is you might find, wait a second, I need to measure this other thing. This other thing is important. If I didn't measure the demos, I wouldn't really know that I need to do 10 demos to get one deal. So then I have to back into how many calls do I need to make to get 10 demos? Well, if I did that, then I would know I'd need to make 100 calls to get 10 demos to get one deal. So that means I need to figure out how to do 200 calls. You see what I mean? Like you just might find that you've got to kind of figure out if you're going to scale, you have the statistics, but remember, you're trying to go higher, more, faster, better, stronger, launching, more power. And also, if you are scaling, you're going to have to tell other people, train other people to do what you're doing. So you need a team of people doing what you're doing. And so that will help you. And all I mean is you want to review and go, wow, okay, we should have been measuring that. That's really key.
Okay, I see. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
So welcome. Okay, some more hands. Cami. Cami's with us tonight.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for taking my question. Hi,
Course.
Sherry.
Hi.
Um, okay, so I was introduced. Well, I was looking for a cash flow business, and I was introduced to this affiliate business that basically sells a. It's a platform, so it's a subscription base, and it's a platform. Now, when I looked into their training system and all what we're talking about right here, right, there's nothing available. So I said, okay, am I crazy enough to kind of like, I said, okay, fine. If there's nothing available, then I'm it. So I need to start with me. It needs to start with me. So in other words, training, support, you got signed up, what? And then what? Is it okay for me to get started on all this, like get it set up so that, and then statistics, when we talked about stats, right? I was like, okay, if the owner of the company, right, tells me, well, how did you come to those results, or what, then I can speak more knowledgeable and more knowing and say, hey, you know what? This is what I did. This is what I'm doing. Is that okay? Or am I going crazy?
Yeah, it's more than okay. It's absolutely necessary if you're going to do well. Don't worry about what everybody else is doing. If you want to kill it, you just go ahead and do your thing. You keep your own records of what's working for you. You keep your own information and data and statistics, and you kill it, especially on an affiliate deal. You don't need anybody's permission to just kill it. And so you're right. You're going to get your stats so high. They're going to be like, Cami, what's Cami doing?
And I'm gonna sell it to them. I'm not gonna.
Hey,
I
that's what you
will
need to
not
do.
give it away, because I always do that, right? Because I mean, this is what I was looking for, right? I didn't want to sell products. I didn't want to sell, other services and things like that. And I'm a life skill coach. So I could use the platform to actually monetize on what. So it's good for anybody, whatever you're selling, you monetize on that platform, because you can do it's already set up with it's beautiful, like with the cart and stuff like that. So you can create videos and you can sell, so you can monetize on that site. So it's a really good concept, yet, the owners was like, well, you're not doing anything. You're not doing anything. It's like, just tell people. If they cannot see it, just tell them. And I'm like, yeah, but they're asking for support. They're asking for training. They're asking for, you know what I mean? What do I do next? Can you give me like a phone call, create a phone call questions and stuff like that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if you want me to make phone calls, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
So that is not set up. So it's okay. Like, I'm not going crazy. I just wanted a confirmation.
Oh man, it sounds like a perfect opportunity to blow it out of the water and completely make a huge impression, and just take it to the next level and the next and the next, and then export that. If that's a needed and wanted thing, man, you just hit a really big button. Hey, it's Cami. I got your answers right here. As if you want to be successful, join my group, and so-and-so, subscribe to my so-and-so for the small price of X, Y, or Z.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you kindly. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Let's see. Judith is on the line.
Hi, Sherry. How are
Hi,
you?
Judith. Great. How are you?
Yes, I'm great too. Thank you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. My question is about a particular, I guess the question is like this. One of our distributorship is asking an exclusivity on one country. And we're a bit hesitant for the reason that to do that, it takes a lot of hard work, a team and all that. So we said, look, why don't we look at one territory and let's be successful in one territory. We support you. We, the best we can, because your success is our success as well. But they keep pushing that, oh, it's hard like that because, and then I said it, and we said is that your success on that territory will replicate that on another territory, and so on and so forth. But what they're asking us is that provide them a 12 months exclusivity, no sales targets in place, and just planting seeds. And we thought it's a bit hard for us, knowing that we've already been selling in that country. So now that we're discussing about statistics, I'm thinking what is actually we could give to them and say, look, you cannot just ask 12 months from us, take ownership of that country and deprive all others or even us to go in that country. What could we ask them, to say, look, this is a compromise. We could try to give you this, but there has to be some sort of accountability from their end.
I would think of two things immediately. Number one is show me the statistics where you've done this before in another country. I want to see what you've done before in the past. I want to see, are you qualified? And number two would be pay me a lot of money. I want you to pay me a lot of money. And then you can have 12 months and we go from there and we renegotiate later, blah, blah, blah. But this is what I would, first of all, who are these people? What have they ever done before? Why should you trust this country to them? What have they done to make you think that they would be successful with your product, service, or model? And then they need to pay you for the exclusivity, if that's what they want. And you should price it so that it wouldn't hurt you. You would make the money that, or close to it, that you would make if you were spending time cultivating that territory yourself.
At first, actually, we walk away from that because we thought that they're pressurizing us and making their shots. But we said, look, but then they keep coming to us. So we thought, okay, we'll try to make this work. But we've come to the point that either we walk away from it and just open another door of opportunity, or we'll try to compromise on something that could work. So this is, and they don't even want to pay us a lot of money. That's why okay, yes, I can ask them about, show me the statistics, what they have done. They're actually beginners, but they're business owners themselves. So they've done, that's one. Second is they don't even want to pay us money.
Judith, I think I would have made my decision right there, but there's probably a lot more behind that. That sounds like you have a reason to consider it, but those would be my top two things. Okay. A company will do what it has done. Yes. And then they will not do what they are not invested. It's got to hurt them if they don't hit their stats on that. So I would make that financially painful.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Sherry.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Okay, Letty.
Hi, Sherry. Thank you so much.
Hi.
So my question is, my business is 100% social media based. And you spoke directly to me when you said you gotta have a system in place, and it's all about the statistics. When I'm going live, when you have so much to it, and I do have a product as well. So my question would be, what's your advice for creating the best system that's going to actually be very practical for me, because I do have, all platforms, and to make it work, but it's also not going to, it's actually bringing me the results that I want. At the end of the day, I need to sell my product.
Right. Mm-hmm. So social media is so cool right now. There are so many neat widgets that you can plug in, and it spits out this beautiful report. And we have researched a bunch of them. I'm not using one that I would say stamp of approval right now, because sometimes, there's a problem that they can't attribute something to a certain thing because, you know how it works. You click on one thing and then you buy 3 steps later and it gives credit to the first thing. But I would tell you that there are so many systems just within the social medias. What's your favorite social media?
It is Instagram,
Yeah.
but most people in my business, they work out of Facebook. So
So on
I'm
your Instagram, is it tied to your Facebook page where you can at least get
Yeah.
some statistics?
Mhm.
Okay.
all my social media, they're all tied to each other.
Yeah. So Instagram is a little bit tricky because you don't have all that back end, it's only what exists on Facebook. But that's okay. If you're measuring what's working, through the Facebook algorithms and statistics, you'll definitely see, you're going to see when is the most productive day, when is the most productive time, what is the most productive hour, and also what subject, what was the topic or the headline, what did people join to see, right?
Right.
So then you're going to measure that as far as, okay, how many views did I get, or impressions or comments or engagement, and you're going to take that statistic and you're going to measure it against your dollars. How much did you sell? And you're going to go, okay, this day, this time, this topic was the winner. It had the most sales, and that was X dollars. So now what do I need to do to replicate that successful scenario over and over again to higher and higher levels so that you reach your financial target? And with social media, it is a lot simpler than other methods to at least have a basis on that. So
Yeah.
you're in a really good space.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All righty, let's see. Eric's here.
Hi, Sherry. Thank you for doing this. Good morning from the Netherlands.
Oh, good morning from the Netherlands.
Thank you. Hey, my question to you is, I just started for myself 6 months ago, and I've trained in another business. I've trained people, but it's much safer when you're working for some other guy. Now I started for myself. I have this new guy. He's got a lot of drive. I see a lot of potential. So he's starting to do some cold calling for me in like a week or so. What are some best practices that you guys do regarding new guys and targets?
So just the volume, working that muscle of calling is the first thing. Yeah. If they get hung up on 100,000 times, that is 100,000 times less that they will get hung up on in the future. So you just work that muscle of calling out, even if they get a bunch of voicemails, even if they leave a bunch of messages, even if they get hung up on. It's just building that muscle of you just keep going. You never put the phone down. Grant says you just don't put it down. You dial the next number. Of course, that's when older phones, but I think that if you can simply, obviously you need a script for them. And if you have a script for them that you found works for you, at least that they can start with, and then you can really hone it down and shine it up and polish it as other people start to do it. Yeah. Because you'll find out that just because it worked for you doesn't mean it's going to work for other people all the time.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking that, because I'm just wondering, like, should I hit him with my expectations of myself? But I couldn't do that, of course, if it's a new guy. But I want to get him to the best state in like the shortest period of time. So Are there any pitfalls to avoid in that?
Yes. So you've got to watch these guys so closely. Are they with you in a location, or are they remote?
It's one. He's starting with me on my location, and in the end, he's going to do it by himself.
Check on him every single hour if he's not sitting right next to you, because people, they're going to feel loss. He's going to give up, right? Because he's going to get demoralized and he's not going to have any wins. So you've got to build the wins in for him.
Yeah.
And the wins are only this in the beginning. Did you make the phone calls? Did you get to 100 calls a day? that has to be the target at first, because that just builds the muscle of calling. And that way it makes those losses of the hang-ups or the cussing out or the whatever, it kind of falls by the wayside because he's winning. Every
Yeah.
time somebody's balling him out, he's winning. Every
Yeah.
time somebody's hanging up on it, he's winning.
Yeah.
So give him the win in the beginning, build the muscle of the phone call first, work on the script, and then really try to get through the gatekeeper or through to not hanging up. So you're building it on a gradient. If you're dealing with somebody who's new or new to cold calling or new to the business, this is the best way to go about it, because otherwise they just have so much loss piled on them at once that they give up and they quit.
Got it. So not just doing better numbers at once, but just getting further in the process in your script, in your pitch and everything.
Exactly. Do you know how many calls it takes for you to make a sale yourself
Yeah.
personally?
Yeah, but now it's a lot easier for me because I'm doing half goal and half lead generation, but he's going to start with almost everything cold for now.
So just remember that that's how it was for you, right? How it's gotten easier for you now. And the same will be for him. If you put him on that same path, but you can advance him quicker because you've now lived that. You've now lived through that whole evolution. So you go, oh yeah, okay, I remember I just made calls. I was getting hung up. The more confidence I got, the more I was confident in the product, the more conviction I have, the more I know I'm going to help this person, then the more likely it is I'm going to get them to pay attention to me. And then you just build his skills up a little at a time. But the call muscle first, then drill the script muscle.
Great, thank you.
Welcome. Good luck and well done on hiring somebody. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah. We have Miriam today. Miriam, what time is it, Miriam, where you are? Miriam, are you there? I can't hear you. Not yet. I see you, but I can't hear you. Oh. Well, we love you. We love you. 10X. Okay, Tatiana.
Hi,
Hi.
how you doing, Sherry? Thank you so
I'm
much for
doing
giving
great.
this opportunity.
You're so welcome.
I have a question for you, which it might be a little bit tricky. I started my business in 2015 as a solopreneur. So it was just me and I was doing everything with almost no money. And, slowly but surely, I started building it up with no social media presence or anything. And in 2019, I hired somebody to make the appointments with me, kind of building up on the question that the other gentleman asked you. And she was working wonderfully, but most of my business was face-to-face because I deal with Medicare, that is seniors. And my market is first generation of Hispanics here in the States. So it was mostly Hispanic people and it was face-to-face because that's where immigrants mostly, they feel more comfortable seeing you. And everything was fine because she was setting the appointment. I was going there and I was doing practically all the back end work because I used to like closing in the appointment itself. So nothing else needed to be done. When COVID hit, then it became more complicated. And being that they are seniors and they're the ones at most risk, I couldn't do face-to-face. So we
I lost you for a second. I don't know if that's me or Tatiana. Oh gosh, is that me or is that Tatiana frozen? Oh. Tatiana, you froze. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is too bad. Okay, well, if Tatiana comes back in, we'll go back to her. Meanwhile, guys, we've come to the end of our evening here. And I want to see in the chat what you guys are taking away tonight. Give me one thing you're going to take away and do. Give me one thing. Yep, stats, inspect what you expect. That's right, create a system, measure tasks completed, tasks completed. Yep, stats will help with motivation, systemize the math. Yep, create a script, keep track of my progress, building graphs, I love it. Yep. Oh, I love it. Enforce what's working, eliminate those that are not. Get people wins. I love that. Show me, don't tell me. My favorite. Stats follow up, double check, plan the proper system. Oh, thank you, Leah. Inspection of tasks done, measure, keep stats. Wonderful, wonderful. Good, guys. I'm so happy. Now tell me, guys, who is coming to the 10X Growth Conference 5, either live or virtually? Let me see y'all. Yes. All right. Now listen, if you guys do not have your 10X Growth Con 5 tickets, you can get it. You can attend virtually. We're having a really unbelievable virtual special at grantcardone.com/free, grantcardone.com/free. If you don't have your virtual ticket, you can get one. And there's this really cool thing that we're doing because Grant does not want any empty seats in the house. And he knows people sometimes have last minute situations and they have to cancel and those sort of things. So we have this is the first time we've ever done this. It's grantcardone.com/lounge, grantcardone.com/lounge. We're going to have an exclusive area where people can come and watch the event, set up really beautiful viewing. We're going to have lunch in there. You're going to get to go to the VIP party Thursday night. And it's sort of like a lotto. I told Jared, it's sort of like a lotto, because if we have an empty seat, we're going to pull from the lounge people to fill it. So you could pay for a lounge seat and end up in Diamond if a Diamond doesn't show. You could pay for a lounge seat and end up in VIP or end up in Premier. So if you're interested and you feel spontaneous and you want to come to Miami, check out grantcardone.com/lounge. And we would love to see you guys in Miami. We're so happy that we're going to have a 10X Growth Con this year. And we are really excited. We just did a walkthrough of this space on Friday. And, you know, Grant is just Grant. Okay, we need big this here. And what's our experience there? And we need them to feel really special. And we want to know, we got to know this place is 10X. And I want 10X on the trees. And I want 10X on everything, right? So that's Grant. And we are working very hard to create a super fantastic experience, whether you are in the house or virtual. So don't miss that. We want you to stay connected. We're so happy you're here. Thank you so much for allowing us to help you guys launch. It's our biggest joy to help you. So keep it going, and we shall see you next week, Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And I really appreciate each one of you. Thank you for your attention and your questions, and I hope you do really great things this week. And keep your stats. I'm watching you. Bye, guys. Have a good one. Kat, you can take it from here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sherry. All right. How amazing was Mrs. Sherry Hamilton? Let's get a 10X in the chat for Miss Sherry Hamilton. I mean, guys, just so you know, I know Sherry does a lot of behind the scenes and she's always at Grant's right hand whenever we do events. So if you haven't met Sherry, now you have. I'm sure everybody's about to level up their business, their operations from that conversation. So we can go to the two ladies. Hopefully the audio issues are resolved. Let's see, Miss Tatiana, you're right in the middle. Everybody was hanging on your every word until you.
No, I'm sorry. Because we have a hailstorm here in New Jersey, so go figure, you know.
I
what
can
you're gonna do.
So I'm gonna try and help as best as I can for your question. But if I can't help answer the question, I will ask Ms. Sherry Hamilton and get you the answer, because I know you've been a part of our programs, you've been involved in everything. So anything that we can do to help, we're here for you.
Yes, I'll appreciate it. So, well, as I was explaining before, I don't know if you heard the whole story. I didn't want to say the whole thing, but COVID hit here and then everything changed and I had to change my business model to only phone instead of face-to-face. And that is when the problems started, because when you do phone sales only, you have to do more follow-up. You have to be more after the client. You have to make sure they received everything, they understood everything or not. And I was relying a lot on her for her to do that part, because I have to be selling. I'm the only person that sells. But then obviously with COVID, she also started facing problems with her family. So then, you know, her dad got sick. And I don't want to be a dick about it. You know what I mean? It's been already a year, but it's been problem after problem. And I understand that if you have a lot of personal issues in your head, it's going to be very difficult for you to focus in achieving certain benchmarks that we have for the year. And we already had that conversation, but and we are in Cardon U, so she does training with me and everything, but I want more, you know what I mean? But I feel bad that, you know, she's telling me her dad is again in the hospital, and then I cannot say, you know, okay, just make another 5 phone calls today or 10 phone calls today. You know what I mean? Yep. So I feel kind of frustrated that this is happening, this is bad, I understand, but she's the only person that helps me on this. So I really don't know what to do, because, you know,
so
it's not.
I can give you. Sorry, you're like freezing in and out, but I can imagine and I can understand exactly where you're coming from. Now, this is going to come straight from Miss Sherry Hamilton. She did a mentor call a couple of weeks ago, and you know, she was saying you have to find out what motivates people, right? The people that are working in your organization, understanding their why. Because a lot of people, managers, they tend to think that the only thing motivating someone can be monetary, but other people may thrive on title, right? That leadership role, that potential partnership and growth within your company, right? Legacy for her future. Important conversation, and I'm sure you've done this, but there's always an opportunity to elaborate and revisit every time you have monthly, weekly, bi-weekly, quarterly check-ins with your employee. But it's always an opportunity to refresh and say, hey, you know, we're in a different world right now. Let's just get on the same page and understand, you know, what's driving you right now. Is it for you to be able to take care of your family just in case of these, you know, circumstances if they do come up again? Because once you understand what her motivating driving factor is, then you can use that to motivate her to push harder. Because like Grant always says, the best thing to overcome sadness and depression is massive action, right? Because sitting and crying about it, yes, it hurts, it's terrible. COVID impacted a lot of people. But what we can do is we can pick ourselves up, make more money to be able to handle these situations. So we become, so it becomes a little bit easier, right? So again, you have to have this conversation. That's for everybody on this call, whether you have employees, independent contractors. I saw a couple of those questions flying by. They were saying, how do I control independent contractors? Guys, it's not about the control. It's about getting everybody to pull in the same direction as you. If we can give an example as well, everybody in the 10X headquarters, every single morning, the meeting is led by Sherry Hamilton and Jared Glenn, our president, and we discuss, hey, what are the stats happening here in the office? What are our successes? So we can share that company culture and we can all pull in the same direction. Constant, continuous reminders. And mind you, this is a team and an organization of 120 people. This is applicable whether you have 1,000 people in your organization or 2, right? So Tatiana, I know this is a tough situation, but it's important, like Sherry's saying, use stats and remove emotions from the equation. This is, you know, business at the end of the day. Yes, we want to have great relationships in those businesses, but it's a business. It is your business and it's your future on the line, right? So do you want to carry somebody with you, or do you want them pulling your business in the same direction? That question's for you.
Thank you. I understand.
Okay.
Been
And
very helpful.
I'm sorry, wait a couple of weeks, you'll come down to Miami. No thunderstorms, 80 degrees all day.
Wanna be there? Yes, I'm there.
I can't wait. But I can't wait to meet you, Tatiana. So good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited.
Blessing. Ms. Miriam Ali, first of all, I just want to say congratulations. Hopefully we can hear you this morning, afternoon, evening. But you put on your second event and it was bigger and badder than the first one. It looks like the operations were on point, the events, the scheduling, everything was there. So what question did you have for today?
Yes, speaking of the live event, look at the list of prospecting as a result of the live event. I'm gonna tell you, it's for another day. I'll go ahead and share with you the experience. But my question is, in regards to documenting the system, is there like a specific system to document the system, or are you guys like using Word documents for that?
Great question. So we are a team of collaboration. So we use, and again, we do not endorse them or support them in any way. They don't pay us. But we are big proponents of Google Docs, right? It's live updates. You can grant specific access to people in your organization yourself. You can lock it up, you can password, you can document, you can see the live changes. So it's a great way to keep everything in one area and watch the live updates as it happen. And you never have to worry, oh, did I save it? It's a very easy process. So a lot of the documents are created using Google Docs and then kind of saved into PDFs and then stored onto our intranet as well.
And is there like a specific time in which you guys update this? Like, or is it, you update it like monthly or you update it like quarterly? Because again, processes change, right?
Good question. So as things progress, we have our team in place, and then we also have the managers that are the heads of each department. Each manager is responsible. So Sherry delegates the managers to have and document their process. So it's not like, here, Sherry, here's my manual, I need you to read it. It's like Sherry was talking about. She's passed us the ball. It's our responsibility to say, got it, Sherry, done. Once we have that system in place, it's our responsibility to disseminate that information to our team, making sure that we're evaluating those stats, making sure that the processes are working. Now, in the case that a procedure needs to be updated, that's again, that falls into the responsibility of the manager or the person who is responsible for that department. So for example, anything happens in the social space in the community department, it's my responsibility to open up my manual in Google Docs, update that manual, and then you can track and see via Google Drive who's making adjustments and edits to those Google documents. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Of course. So everyone here today, thank you so much for your time. We did a little bit of different this week. You got to experience Grant Cardone for the first kind of month solid of the program. You got to see Jarrett Glant, the president of our company and organization. You got to see Miss Sherry Hamilton, the right hand, the enforcer, right? The person who handles the operations. So we can show you that it is a team effort. There's a lot of different components that make a successful business. So what you guys are receiving here is tips and systems in order for you to kind of grow your business. We're curious to find out what value you're getting, guys. Don't be shy, be active in the community and the groups. The more that you are present to us, the more that we can help you so you can be a part of our ecosystem, get to meet the team so we can help you. You guys aren't alone in this. We're here to help you. As you heard from everybody here on the call today, if you're a part of our programs and everything, we're here to support you consistently. Thank you so much for your time today. And also just a reminder, if you guys do have Clubhouse, go make sure that you jump onto Clubhouse because some of Grant's top producers do a role play session. You can follow Rhett Holloway. He's the gentleman right up here in top in the participants, Rhett Holloway. He's the digital master of our organization. You can follow him. You'll get a notification. 9:15, the room's about to start. If you guys want to practice and role play with our team, guys, we'll meet you there. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you back here again, 8 o'clock next Monday. Bye, everyone. Have a great night. Go be great.